So for a while, the nation, not just in New York, the nation just thought halal was chicken over rice. And for a few years, there was that run of, hey, let's grab halal. And that was known as chicken and rice. But over time, I guess, some people took that, personally and said, hey, no, this is not what this halal is about. We're going to show you that halal can be anything.
The Halal Food Podcast by Halalrun, the #1 guide to halal eating options in the US, Canada, and the UK. On our podcast, we feature inspiring and accomplished Muslims in the West from all backgrounds. We talk to them about their lives and about the halal restaurants where they love to eat. The largest population of Muslims in any city in the Western Hemisphere is in New York City. Today, we're joined by Raza Dastgir, who's one of the top bloggers in the New York City tri-state area. He's based in Long Island, and he runs The Halal Guide, which is a blog, Facebook group, and app. Beyond this, Raza is also very involved in the local community. He runs a charity called Muslims of Long Island and is involved in several others. The Halal Guide has over 70,000 followers on Instagram, over 20,000 in its Facebook group, and all of this was done in a short period of time since 2019 when he founded it. So today Raza is going to tell us how he did it. If you enjoy this episode, please hit that like button. Now let's jump over to the interview. And we're here live with Raza Dastgir. Raza, thank you so much for joining us today on the Halal Food Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Z.
So, Raza, let's jump right into it. You are one of the leading halal food resources in the country and in the New York City area. How did you get started in this space?
I got started on our platform about 4 years ago when we first created the Halal Guide. But before that, it started as just, going to new halal spots that were opening up in New York, and just posting about them, telling our friends and family about them. And I always had a passion for food. And, when I moved to here in the early 90s, there was only, chicken and rice spots here. And when the CFCs came around, the Kennedy Fried Chickens, that became a big thing. And we thought that was like, heaven for us, And, they were using Restaurant Depot patties, but we were loving it, And then slowly but slowly, we started getting different type of halal restaurants here. And, being a foodie myself, always, out and about trying new spots. We always went, told our family and friends, one thing led to the next. Next time I would visit, hey, thanks for letting, so many people know we had a great turnout. And I'm like, oh, wait, how many people came? And then, the numbers would be like, oh, wow, it's staggering. I guess, having a large presence of a network, being all involved in the community, it helps. So, I decided with my co-founder, to form a page. And then it just took off from there back in 2019.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've been in New York. I moved to New York in 2000, and I've been here since. And I remember those dark times that you're talking about, where there weren't a lot of options. And so why don't we talk a bit about that? How in the past couple of decades, right, have you seen the New York halal scene change and evolve and improve?
It's evolved because it's, first of all, social media is a big help now. But before that, like I said, there wasn't many cuisines for different halal restaurants. It was all the same, whether it was chicken and rice or fried chicken. And slowly when, I think what really broke the ice was the halal guys. That halal got, taken a twist for what the word halal meant. So for a while, the nation, not just in New York, the nation just thought halal was chicken over rice. And, for a few years, there was that run of, hey, let's grab halal. And that was known as chicken and rice. But over time, I guess, some people took that, personally and said, hey, no, this is not what this halal is about. We're going to show you that halal can be anything, whether it's Thai food, Vietnamese food, peri-peri, et cetera, Chinese. So slowly but slowly, in New York being the mecca of food, different restaurants started opening up one by one. It started with, after the chicken rice, it was fried chicken. And then, there was burger joints that were opening up. And slowly but slowly, we had different types of cuisines coming and evolving in New York, which now is the capital of food, which has so many different types of restaurants that have opened up, and it's amazing how many are opening up day by day.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is I think there still is that perception in the non-Muslim community that's there, that we constantly have to kind of like educate them that no, halal doesn't mean chicken over rice.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, it's it was double-edged, right? It created awareness. People know there's a thing called halal and Muslims eat halal. But we need to kind of make sure people understand the right definition. All right, so talking about all these amazing kind of developments in the New York scene, being a foodie yourself, being steeped in this, what are some of your sort of top halal restaurants now that you recommend to people when they come to New York looking to check out halal food?
We get this question all the time. There's so many great spots. To name a few, we wouldn't be doing justice to all of them. But I mean, if you ask, I mean, some of my personal favorites that are off the top of my head, I would go with, Top Thai, Theo Thai. Top Thai located in New York City, Theo Thai located right here in Long Island. Um, they have some really good food. We have one of the only fully halal hibachi spots right here in Long Island as well, Zaza, Japan. They put on quite a show. You go with your family and kids. It's a great spot to go to. We have a Pakistani restaurant called Shirazi Karai, and they make some phenomenal karai. And it's like you're sitting right back at home, and they put on a little bit of show, bringing that out as well. We have Holy Chick, formerly known as Birdie's, probably one of the greatest hot chicken spots, in the country. And I've been to dozens and dozens of them, and we're fortunate to have 3 branches right here in the tri-state. We have Burger Mania, who's right here in Times Square. Their smash burgers are phenomenal. Jumply and Chips, talk about a story from rags to riches. Opened up a cart, Halal Guide, our platform, posted about it, and he got bombarded within 1 year. He not only won Cart of the Year, he was featured in the New York Times as well, just by, posting on our platform. That is a great concept. Now he has his own food truck. They have their first brick and mortar store as well. So that's always a great spot to go to. Peri Peri Guys, located in Hicksville. They have evolved as probably one of the premier peri peri spots in all of New York. I love going there. We have a bunch of Mexican spots that opened up. One of my favorites, Small Mexican Grill. The birria tacos really, it was a phase of last year. So many birria spots opened up, and 2 years ago, I mean, there was none, and now there's probably close to a dozen. So that evolved, within the last year. One famous one is Duzan, the shawarma in Steinway. That's always a popular one to go to. So those are some of my top favorites.
Those are some awesome picks. Those are some really good picks. And yeah, there's been an explosion, mashallah. So it's great for all of us who spend a lot of time looking hard for good halal spots. So, with the explosion in halal eating options, Raza, we've seen kind of an emergence of a lot of content creators, right? That are creating content about halal food. You mentioned you started about 4 years ago. There are some who started before that. There's some who started more recently, but there's a lot of them. And we're big fans of this community because it's an important function, right? To make people aware of where they can eat. So who are some of the other halal food bloggers or food bloggers in general, whether in New York or in other cities, whose stuff you check out and you like?
There's plenty. I mean, there's a lot of people doing some great work across the country, across the globe. Some that I religiously follow. There's a few based out in London. I just feel like London is just one step ahead, if not many steps ahead. And their content, just because the restaurants are so, more evolved, their content is just so much better than ours because they have a lot more to cover. Some of the halal bloggers I would put as Sisters with Taste, Halal Memoirs. Those are both based out of London. I'm locally in the States, Halal NYC, right here, local in New York, one of the best in the game, putting out content. And then DMB Eats as well, based out of the DMB area. She does some amazing work as well.
Very cool. Yeah, you're right about the London scene. We're big fans of what goes on there. It's like you said, they're probably they were a generation ahead immigration wise, right, to the U.S. in terms of big waves of Muslim immigration, and just culinarily, there's a wealth and a concentration of halal options, right? Because so much is in London, right? You've got Muslims in North America spread out, and you've got Muslims in England and Scotland and across the UK, but there's such a concentration in London, so you get so many options there. Great. Now, Reza, I'm definitely, this is Ramadan when we're recording this, and I know that you're involved in the community and with a number of charities, which we're big fans of. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the sort of the nonprofit work that you do for the community?
So we have a mother company, Muslims of Long Island, which is a 513 registered nonprofit. And then we also work hand in hand year long with Muslims Giving Back. We have a hunger truck initiative that we've invested in with Muslims Giving Back. We feed the needy every second Saturday of the month on a daily all year long. And then we also have initiative that we take part in every Ramadan, that the last 10 nights of Ramadan, we feed several hundred people every night throughout Ramadan, throughout those days, through that truck. So those are a couple of the initiatives. And then, we have, people, organizations reach out all year long if we can assist with providing food at a discounted rate, which we do help them as well. Facilitate that for them.
And where can our viewers go to find out more about these organizations?
They can go on our page at thehalalguide.com, and there's charity work highlights over there, and they could view all the charity work we do, and they could definitely go to their website as well.
That's great. That's that it's awesome that people like you are supporting the community in multiple ways, right? Not just by being a guide and pointing us to the right places to eat, but helping the others in need. And we have a rich community of a lot of individuals doing a lot of impressive things like yourself. Who, Reza, are some of the other Muslims in the West that you admire, that you think are doing great things, that you think are great models for the community?
I mean, being Ramadan and, listening to a lot of more, religious stuff these days, someone that I always watch, throughout the year, not just now, is definitely Umar Sulaiman. He does some great work. His talks are just so personal. You feel like you're having a one-on-one discussion, like he's talking directly to you. So there's definitely not only there's an emotional attachment there too, and I really admire the work that he's doing.
Very cool. Any others?
Go along that lines. I'm also a big fan of Naman Ali Khan. Very young, he was local right here on Long Island, went to local mosque, was the president of the mosque that, we have our yearly food festival. So he's a local hero here, So I followed him since day one, and what he's evolved into now, and being an inspiring leader for the youth and the younger generation, he does some amazing work as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. We like to ask all our guests this question, and it's remarkable how many people have mentioned both of those religious figures, right? Umar Sulaiman and Naman Ali Khan. They really have resonated with people of all ages, really, and throughout the U.S. and internationally. It's really remarkable. And they've been able to amass kind of really large followings. So along that, on that subject, you have over 70,000 followers on Instagram. Your Facebook group has over 20,000 members. How have you grown such a large and kind of devoted online following in what is relatively a short span of time?
I think what differentiates us from the other pages, other bloggers that are out there is we have a strong attachment to our community in which we do stuff that involves them, not just posting about content and having them go and try out the restaurants. We have community engagement by doing food festivals every year, where we'll be doing our fifth food festival this year, July 1st. Well, last year we had 8,000 people attend. So people love to see that, hey, they're putting something together for the community. We're the only platform that does Halal Restaurant Week. So we do that. We did that for our second time this year. And, it was a 2-week thing. We had over 140 restaurants participate this year. We have the one and only Sabur Fest in the whole tri-state happening August 15th, just 2 Saturdays away now. We're expecting crowd close to 4,000 to 5,000 people. So we do events like these that, involves the community. And I think that's why our following has, grown substantially faster than many others. So it's doing community events and getting everybody involved, which really helps us grow a lot faster.
So Sahur Fest, you said, is on April 15th, right? Coming up.
Yeah. Yes.
So what is involved in putting on like a halal food fest? Because it seems like you've done a number of them. How difficult is that?
The first couple of years, it was a lot of work. We had to basically sell ourselves, literally sell ourselves. Hey, have faith in us, believe in us, and we're gonna make sure that it's worth your time coming out. And thankfully, the first year was a phenomenal response, which made all the other years that came along a lot easier. It's to the point now that, after last year's food festival, we already have 80% of our bookings already done. They're like, sign us up for the next one. So a lot of work is involved. There's the health department involved. There's insurances involved. There's, getting all the vendors, to come, set up, volunteers, politicians coming, police department notified, etc. So there's a lot of marketing, which is a big thing, So a lot of work is involved. But thankfully, with experience and over time, we've came up with a formula where it's almost automatic now, alhamdulillah.
And where exactly is this year's taking place?
This Silver Festival is happening at MDQ in Bayshore, August 15th from 11 p.m. to about 5 a.m.
And that's the Sahur Fest. And what about the Halal Food Fest? Where was the last one held?
That was also held at MDQ. And that was held on July 16th of last year. This year, it's going to be July 1st. It's always the first Saturday after Eid al-Adha.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how, our date is announced.
Okay, yeah. Inshallah, 15 years from now, it's going to be in the middle of winter. So, so we'll try to figure that out. Well, Raza, you've been very generous with your time and your thoughts. We, on behalf of those of us in the New York community, we really appreciate what you're doing. Like you said, in terms of information and content, but also your engagement with the community.
Yeah. The community is very supportive. We just launched the Halal Guide app as well. It's the only delivery service app in the whole nation. Download it if you haven't already. The Halal Guide on your iOS or, on your Apple and Android. And, we have tons of engagement on there as well. And if you don't want to order, you can just go there as a Halal directory as well. So it's things like that, initiatives like that, we're proud to put out and invest the time and resource and money into, but knowing that we're going to get a response for it.
Yeah. And by delivery service, you mean like you actually, like DoorDash or like Uber Eats, run the network that actually delivers the food?
Absolutely. Comes right to your door.
Very cool. All right. Well, Raza, thank you again for joining us. And we would love to, inshallah, have you back again in the future and talk more about your continued growth.
Thank you so much for having me. And Ramadan Mubarak.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thanks for joining us. Halalrun is the #1 guide to halal eating options in the US, Canada, and the UK, featuring over 17,000 restaurants in 2,500 cities. You can find us on our website, halalrun.com, or on all our socials where we are at Halalrun. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe so we can bring you more like it. We are here to serve you.